Well, in case you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm getting some poles set up to make a smoker. So today's video is a little different to normal. I'm at home, I've got food for a change, but I've been given some mullet, so I'm going to have a crack at setting up a little teepee smoker on my lawn and actually creating a cold smoke for the mullet. And while I'm at it, I'm going to chuck in a few strips of venison and some strips of duck breast I found in the freezer. So I don't normally smoke my food like this. I normally use a little hot smoker. So this will be a bit different. It's going to be a bit experimental, but if it works, it's something I could do, or you could do, or anyone could do in the bush, in the outdoors, in New Zealand. If you had a surplus fish or some surplus meat, say you wanted to preserve longer term, it's worth a crack. So yeah, it'll be a bit experimental, a bit of fun, and we'll give it a go. So we'll see what happens, eh? So we'll get a bit of material and we'll take it home, set it up on the lawn, and have a crack at it. Well, I've got a selection of material, hopefully to do the job. I'm using manuka because there's heaps of it around here, and once I've finished with it I can use it on the fire as well. So yeah, we'll see how we go. If we run out, we'll come back and get some more. Okay, we've got all our stakes. What I thought would be fun to do is actually build the smoker from all natural materials. So I'm going to head off and find some flax now, and we'll use that as cordage, and we'll try and build it from anything we can find that's laying around the bush. So we'll see how it goes. This flax very conveniently is on my lawn, so it means I don't have to go too far, and there's plenty of it. Well, as you can see, it's taking shape. It's just a very, very quick and rough teepee. I'm going to do a bit more work on the framing and set up some drying racks on the top, and then we'll work out a way of closing it in. Well, I'm just going to try and split these up a bit, try and make a drying rack. So I'm not sure how these will split. We'll give it a crack. Actually, we might just bash it with a piece of wood. Let's see how this goes. Pushing the luck, getting it down much finer, I think. Well, hopefully this works. I've made a bit of a drying rack there. I might actually shave it down a little bit finer yet, just so the smoke can get through there a little bit easier. We might hang our mullet off the ends and lay our fish down on top, and probably after a few hours we'll just turn it around and rotate it a bit. So it's all a bit experimental because I haven't tried this before, so may or may not work. Sweet. I think they'll work really well. So, got our drying rack set up. What I'll do now, instead of tying these on individually, is I'll try and clamp them along the sides just to hold them in place roughly. Well, I think we're just about ready to close it in with some fern. As you can see, I ended up tying the rack on with some flax just to stabilise it a bit so it didn't all fall to bits as I'm putting my fish and meat in there. Put another rail on halfway up so I can strap on some fern. It's not a very big drying rack, smoking rack, because I'm only really doing it as a proof of concept, just make sure it works. And I haven't got a lot to smoke at the moment anyway, so give it a crack. If I had a heap more fish, or maybe some eels or trout or a bit more venison, I'll probably do a double rack and make the smoker a bit bigger. Then you can get a heap more in there. So anyway, going well. I think we'll get a heap of ferns now, and probably won't get it done tomorrow. I've got some other things on, so we'll come back to it and then we'll get a fire going. I want to get a nice smouldering fire going in a pit in the ground here and just keep it going all day. Probably try and keep the smoker going for between 8 and 12 hours, just slowly ticking over, and we'll just see what the results like. Should be interesting. Well, I think we'll have a go at getting some fern around the smoker and try and get it closed in a bit. Not sure how this is going to go, but I think what I'll do is I'll thread the ferns just up through there like that. Do a layer right round, then another layer around the top. If I have to, I could tie it in with a bit of flax, but we'll see if we can't just jam them in there. Make a bit of a gap for our fire, of course, so we can feed the fire at the bottom. Then when we put the fish in, we might just have to leave a gap at the top to get the fish in as well, and then close it in tomorrow. So I'm going to crank this up at breakfast time tomorrow, get the fire roaring while we have a cup of tea, let it die down as the embers, and then we'll just keep it ticking over all day. That's the plan. Hopefully we don't have a major fire on our hands. Can't go anywhere out here on the green lawn. I'm pretty sure it'll be quite safe, but even so, I might just keep a hose handy. What we'll do is we'll tie some bunches of fern together, tie it to our top of the teepee there, and just hang it, overlap these other layers, hopefully seal a bit of smoke in there. How are we going to get our fish in there? I'll have to poke through you like a possum. Yeah, now we'll leave a gap on the other side, I think. Well, isn't she a thing of beauty? Mmm. I think we'll be able to get our fish and our meat in there, right? A little bit pokey, but hopefully it just holds a bit of smoke in there. It'd be quite nice to actually have a bit of framing and a heap of moss or some layers of moss or something like that. Might seal it up better, but I haven't got any moss around here, so I'm just making do with what we can find. Anyway, we might get some wood chopped up now, get our fire pit done, get it all ready for a start in the morning. Spy! Quiet please, the movie's on. Go away, go on. Take them away. Well, there we have it then, a hole in the ground for a fire. I think we're all set for kick off tomorrow morning, as long as the wind's not blowing. Get it cranked up and see if we can't not burn the teepee down. Well, good morning. It's a dreary old drizzly day, and the plan was to crank up the fire this morning, get the smoker going. So yeah, forecast has changed suddenly, so I'm still going to do it. If it gets worse, the rain gets worse, well, I'll chuck a little tarp on top and try and keep it dry. Hopefully it's just this light misty drizzle and it'll disappear before long. So we'll get the fire going anyway and get some coals built up for a start. Okay, there's your mullet. I've got 4 of these, and all I've done is take the backbone out, soak them overnight, brown sugar and sea salt, and we'll give it a crack. There's our venison and our duck. Don't ask me which bits of duck they are, it all looks the same as venison now. It's been soaked in marinade, so I've just cut it in little strips, little thin strips, and I've soaked it in a marinade of garlic and soy sauce and salt and pepper and I don't know, whatever stuff I could find in the fridge basically. So we'll see what happens there. Smells pretty good anyway. So we'll get it in the smoker and let it sort of smoulder away all day. Hopefully we don't burn the whole shooting box down and we end up with a big mess. We'll see how it goes. Well, there we have it. Our meat's on the rack, our fish is hanging underneath. What we'll do now is we'll close it in with our fern. See if we can't get it on top of our smouldering fire without catching all the light. In which case we'd have some seared steak for lunch. Right, this is inside the smoker. There's our rack up there and our fish hanging down. It may get a bit of a ferny flavour to it too. Who knows what that's going to be like. Anyway, let's get it on the fire.
Shit, the whole thing's
It's alright. What's happened?
Come here then quick. The whole Marduk has gone up.
Just grab the side quick.
What's about up here?
Okay, the fire got a little bit hot. We're a bit, got a bit over vigorous there. We might just let it calm down a bit. Spy, not helping. Okay, we have liftoff. Well, not literally, but we have the smoker in action. Smoke coming out the top of the teepee, and fire's got some good hot coals in it, and we're just going to try and keep it just ticking over. Don't want any raging flames catching hold of the fern. Not that I don't think it would burn that well anyway, it's quite green, so you know, I'm just going to let it smoulder all day. Check on it every hour or so, and fingers crossed. Looking forward to seeing the result. Well, I've been up the farm doing a few jobs. Before I went up there, I thought I'll just chuck a couple little bits of wood on the fire just to keep it smouldering away for an hour or so. It was looking great too. You know what happened, don't you? You know, the fish and the venison had been in there about 6 hours, 5 or 6 hours, was just starting to look really, really good. And up the farm, there was a huge plume of smoke. I thought. Came back, and yes, you know what's happened. Yes. There's the remains of the smoker. Oh boy. Unfortunately, the whole shebang fell over, caught fire, all the lashings burnt through, the smoked fish and the venison fell into the fire pit. Fortunately, my wife was here. She salvaged some bits and pieces out of the fire pit, and all is not lost. So, we do have, try not to laugh when I show you this, it's a little bit seared, but it's actually pretty good despite its looks. So we're going to have a look at this. Now, as you can see, there's the venison, what's left of it. The fish itself is actually salvageable. It might not look that great, but it actually tastes pretty darn good. The mullet could have probably done with another couple of hours, but some of it's actually usable. I'm going to eat that. It was actually pretty darn good. The venison is beautiful. I tell you, it's a pity it got a little bit charred on the outside, because that's just like jerky. Flavour is really good. Oh, that's actually dried out. Just really good. That's nice. Worth doing again, but I'd probably spend a lot more time making the smoker next time. I think I probably wouldn't use fern. That was a very impromptu, quick, slap-up job. I think if I was doing something better, and I put more time into it, I was out in the scrub for a while, I'd close the sides in with some timber and chink up all the gaps with some moss, just to reduce the risk of fire, to stop the wind blowing into it, and it would probably make it more shower-proof too if there was a bit of rain. But of course, if you had an animal skin or something, you could chuck that on top. Oh, I tell you what, that's good. So, not all is lost. It's been a really interesting learning experience. We've got some slightly charred smoked meat and fish. That's good. So, well worth doing. I'd like to, I think I've proved the point that you don't need a super fancy smoker or to spend a lot of money on a smoker to smoke your food. If you got a bit of firewood, set up something simple. Monitor your fire would be a key lesson. It would be better if you're sitting around camp, just keeping an eye on it, stoking it up every now and then. Well worth exercise. I'm going to give it a go another day. I recommend you have a go at it. I'm going to try that venison again though. That has worked out really well. Okay. Hope you've enjoyed this video. And hope you've learnt what works and what doesn't work. Till next time, thanks for watching.